Hello, everyone. A very good evening to you all. My name's Harleen, and I'll be your host for today's session. I hope you've had a great day so far and are now excited and ready for the brand new informative session of the masterclass series organized by the Institute of Product Leadership. Okay? Before we begin today's session, I'd like to give you a quick introduction to the Institute. The Institute of Product Leadership is Asia's first business school providing accredited degree programs and certification courses in product management, product leadership, data science, design, strategy, and leadership. The Institute has partnered with multiple universities and was founded in 2012 with the singular mission of creating 10,000 product leaders in the country. Ever since, the organization has designed and delivered programs in collaboration with various institutes, universities, and corporates to the senior working professionals to help them make career transitions into product leadership. The Institute has also built and developed a community of over 4,000 plus successful alumni leading the product, data, and design teams across the world. We're also knowledge partners for 250 plus organizations worldwide. You can find out more about the Institute and the programs offered on our website. Right? Moving on to today's session, the session is on using data analytics to make better product decisions. Once our speaker for today has presented his insights, we'll open up for questions. So please keep your questions ready and you can post them on Zoom in the Q&A section. This session is also being streamed live on LinkedIn. So, LinkedIn viewers, please feel free to comment your questions and we'll share them with the speaker. Don't miss out on this opportunity, guys. Engage with our esteemed speaker with some good and intriguing questions. All right, then, let's kickstart the session by welcoming and introducing our speaker for this evening, Mr. Bhupesh Sharma. Bhupesh has 14 plus years of experience in product management and data analytics and working with Forbes' top 10 financial institutions. He specializes in leveraging data to drive high quality solutions. He's passionate about coaching and mentoring and also provides personalized guidance on leadership, product management, and self discovery. So pleased to have you join us this evening, Bhupesh.
Thank you, Arlene. Thanks a lot. Thank you for
Of
having
course.
me.
I'll stop sharing, and the screen is all yours.
Green, hello everyone. Thanks a lot for joining for 2 hour long session. I can understand it might be a little long for you all. Thanks a lot, Arlene. I think Institute of Product Leadership is doing a great job by training all the young minds and the aspiring product managers. Um, where I come in basically is to make sure for all of the product managers to understand the strength and the value in the data, and then how you can use data to drive better product decisions. And with that, I'll start the session. But first of all, I know Harleen already introduced. I'll give you a little bit brief about my own journey. I started in 2006 to 2010. For 4 years, I did my BTech in electronics and communication. Coming from a tier two city, I wanted to, and I joined in Gurgaon or Delhi NCR region. So I wanted to do something else when I was doing graduation. So I tried multiple things. I tried a lot of call center rep jobs as well to improve my communication, but I didn't get because I my communication was not that good at the time. But I did door-to-door sales for Hindustan Times to convert Times of India people to Hindustan Times. That was very interesting. And at the same time, I did a lot of maths home tuitions to students, which I gave at that time. So that was kind of, you can call it from product term point of view, my POC, proof of concept, which I tried on myself. From there in 2010, I started my job with Aon Hewitt Associates, where I was working as a quality analyst. I was in the testing profile. Okay. It was a manual testing profile to validate the links and everything. Somehow I didn't like the job. The exposure was not good. The leadership was not good. The mentors were not good at all. They were looking for opportunities to make others feel uh, stupid, you can directly call it. I tried a lot to get out of there. I tried a lot of new things. I tried to get into a you call it data analytics. I tried gate exams, I tried PSU jobs as well, and eventually I stuck with data analytics. I studied SAS at that time, was one of the key language or tools, you can call it. um, and eventually in 2013 I got job with Sintel, and with Sintel I was working for client which is American Express, and I was doing data analytics support for campaign execution. So 2013 is when I started getting near data, started using data to do the campaign execution or any analysis from campaign performance, everything point. 2015 to 2016, I went to Genpact. I stayed there for 1 year only because my Amex boss called me back and said, "Hey, you want to join as an employee?" 2016, I joined back with American Express, and I joined as a data analytics associate position. And 2018, I became manager. Got promoted. And 2018 to 2021, I was at manager position. I got 2018, I was manager. 2020, I became senior manager. 2021, I became director. So that is one of the key highlight of my career, that I got 3 promotions in 3 years. But that is all because of all the hard work, all the different things, all the new things which I tried for all previous 8 years. For 8 years, if you feel like there's not many growth, but all that hard work completed and all that effort returned with lot of growth in the last 3 years, 2018 to 21. But at the same time, whenever we call ourselves, we call our identity as whatever the professional identity we have. Data product leader was my is my identity. I'm a director for American Express, but at the same time, I'm more than that. I am a director. I am a leadership trainer and coach. I'm a product management mentor and trainer. I am a reader. I'm a runner. I'm a father. I'm a leader trainer. So there are a lot more things in my identity. I'll talk something about it in the next slide as well. And the QR code on the screen, if you see, is my link for LinkedIn profile. If you're not connected with me, I would really like you to connect to me, and I'm always available for one-to-one talks as well. Okay. And I do provide mentorship on TopMate. You can reach out to me on TopMate as well if you want to connect with me on one-to-one basis. So 2021, I became a data leader, and I was leading a good, huge data of 250 million plus records for my Express. Um, what happened was, when I moved from data analytics to data product, I want to understand data product more. So one of the best thing to learn about product management is treat yourself as a product. So in 2021, I decided that if I'm a product, what is the one feature as a leader I want to add? Let me do a little bit of a market research. I did a lot of market research and identified all the great leaders are readers. They always find time to read, be it Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, anyone. And I hated reading at that time. I didn't like at all. So give me I made conscious choice to start reading, and I'm more into non-fiction books. So I started slowly experimenting. You can call it A/B testing with Kindle, with audiobooks, with physical books, and trying to identify what is the right mixture which can work for me. And I identified that, okay, hard books along with audiobooks on the same topic at the same time, having audio in your ears at the same time you're reading the physical books, is the best combination for me. And that makes my focus maybe 10 times more than if I'm just reading the physical book. I can say this feature is really going good. I have read more than 80 books in last 3 to 4 years. I on an average I do more than 20-25 books in an year. Next challenge, I decided, okay, what is the next feature I should add? Very important to take care of yourself. If you're not healthy, no matter where you are, no matter how much you earn, no matter how successful you are, it doesn't go well. um, because your life is a marathon. You are running a huge marathon. You're not just sprinting quickly to reach anywhere, and in that you burn out and then you run out of the fuel. There's no point of that. So in 2022 I decided, okay, I want to try running. Before that I used to run only 10-15 minutes at max just for warm up. I said, okay, no, I want to challenge myself. I wanted to pick long distance running. And I can say I have run more than 750 kilometers in last 2 years. I have done 10 kilometers multiple times. My maximum distance is 22 kilometers, which I have done. I don't run marathons, just by the way. It's not something which I do it for accolades or anything. It's just for me only. It's for my own satisfaction, which I do. Next, I decided, okay, what is the next challenge which I look for? I looked it in the industry and identified a lot of people have um, little misconception about the product management and and leadership as well. When people are planning their careers, they 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 get challenged with very bad leadership a lot of times, and they don't understand how to navigate through that phase. And eventually what happens, unconsciously they also become that kind of leader only because they don't have any view on any reference to what is a good leadership. And from there I decided to start doing leadership training and coaching in my organization. I've done multiple session on leadership. Self leadership is one of my main topic, and identifying the leadership behaviors one should have. And I've trained more than 150 people, more trained mentored more than 50 hours. And then from there I started taking to the next step of what is the hard skill I want to add, which I mentor. Leadership is more of a soft skill. So version 5.0, you can call it, I started identifying myself as product management mentor. I have done more than 80 sessions on top mid and I'm rated 4.9. I can say yes, I have impacted a lot of people. My leadership, my training or mentoring style has lot of leadership coaching piece attached to it. That's where empathy comes very handy with that. Okay. And I can very well say this product is really going good, and there are a lot more other features which are in plan, be it yoga, be it meditation, be it mental health, be it public speaking, be doing more of an, you can call it content creation as well. I write regularly on LinkedIn as well on product management, self-help, on personal growth as well. So these are some of the things which are still working on, but I can fairly say that these are some of the key things which are part of my complete identity. Okay. Um, I'll take a pause, and if there are any questions, I can take it from my journey. Otherwise, we can quickly start with the agenda. Okay, cool. So, what are we going to discuss today? First and foremost, very important topic is the data is not only needed when you are trying to do only data analytics or data science piece of it. Somehow, light, goddamn. Um, at each stage of the product life cycle, which lot of you already understand because you all are aspiring product managers or have some idea about it. How can you use data at each stage is the first topic we'll be covering. Then we'll be covering some key concepts about it, and then what are the key challenges one face, and how can one person be more data savvy, and eventually what are the different case studies. Will Okay, just give me 1 second. There's something happened with the room. Okay, yeah, it's on. Okay. Um, why is it important for a PM to be data savvy? That is the first thing why you all are here. Um, and it's basically for you to pick the pulse of the audience, the customers, the stakeholders, the market, the competitors. And what I mean by pulse is you need to make sure that you can predict the trends. Where is market going? What is the next thing which is really going to become big? And you should have some idea about it. You should understand your users' needs. You need to understand the pain points users are facing so that you can plan your product, your features accordingly. You need to make sure you leverage the collaboration with the different teams, be it design, be it engineers, be it marketing, and all the different people. Success matrix. You need to make sure that you have a definition of success when you're launching a product. Are you monitoring regularly how many acquisitions are happening, how much time people are spending on your product, how much time, how much engaged people are? You need to make sure that you measure and measure these metrics regularly. And finally, key engaging insights for your stakeholders which you have, where you look at the past trends, your future trends and everything, and then you identify, okay, these are the key insights and this is the area which we should focus for our business growth or user growth or any of those things. Okay. Now, going next, from product life cycle point of view, and how the data is used in each stage of product life cycle. First and foremost, let's understand basically what is the product life cycle. There are multiple ways you can define product life cycle. I have identified the five key phases of it. The first and foremost, a product journey starts with a basic idea. IPL event raised a hand. Okay, is there a question? Akshay say thank you. Thanks, Akshay. Okay, shall I go ahead? Okay. Yeah, so ideation and market research. A product start with a very someone has an idea, someone understood the problem statement, the pain people are facing, and say, hey, I feel like this is something which we should solve. um, there's a difference between a user mindset and a product mindset, and that simple thing is, when a user faces a problem, they crib, they identify a way or work around it. When a product mindset person look at a problem, they look around, okay, how it can be solved, what is the product which can be made out of it. Second stage is, from that idea you do some market research, and then you go toward building that product. You plan, you design, you develop, and then eventually go to a product development stage. From there you go, you launch the product in the market to see how people are receiving, how people are reacting toward it. And then next is the growth. 1 to 3 are your 0 to 1 stage. You picked an idea from 0, took it to one level, and then what is the next thing? You want to make it big. That is a 1 to n stage. That is the growth stage. And last comes, which no one likes, eventually, where you want to retire the product. You want to make sure, okay, maybe my product is not doing good. What is my decommission plan? What is my plan to slowly fade out and not focus more on this product and plan new challenges or new problems which I want to solve? With that, let's talk about the first stage, ideation and market research. You have an idea, you want to do, you want to build a new product for people to do e-commerce. You want to build a product for farmers. You want to build a product where all the plumbing and the different kind of people can come to you. What is the first thing you do? The first thing you do is you want to identify the market size for that idea. Now, before you even go and look at the market research and do that, very first thing you do is you do a guesstimate. With that, you try to guess what is the size for this problem statement. That is one of the key reason guesstimate is a very important piece of the product management interviews, where people want to understand how wide you can think. They are not looking for all the right solution, but what they're looking for is, can you think in completely different direction? Do you have any ideas of different solutions you want to try? Market sizing is the next thing, where you want to say, okay, this is the market size and this is what we are trying to capture. And and for that you need to do a lot of market research. You need to look at the the companies which are providing different data and different reports. You can read that, understand that, and identify if that market sizing is apt for you, or you need to apply a little bit more analytics on top of that to identify what is the market sizing. And eventually you do lot of user research, by direct, indirect, surveys, interviews, group discussions. You reach out to people to understand, hey, are you facing this problem or not? And very apt case study for someone who have used idea very well at an ideation stage, data at an ideation stage, is Airbnb. uh, Airbnb is a perfect example, where when the two founders were sitting in San Francisco, and then there were a lot of conferences were planned in that area, and lot of corporate professionals were supposed to travel, but hotels were limited. So not all of the people were able to spend that much money on hotels, and at the same time, not a lot of people were um, not a lot of people were able to afford that price, and not the rooms were also not available. So what they did, they identified, is it possible if people traveling, they can stay at someone's home, someone has extra room, extra floor, extra house where they can do. And they very roughly did a guesstimate for that. They identify number of conferences happening, number of people traveling to the conferences, number of hotels rooms available, this into this number of people traveling minus number of rooms available. This is the market size, at least for that um, that time which is looking for these kind of options, which is Airbnb, Air Bed and Breakfast is the name. And eventually they used all these learnings and their market sizing properly to get the right funding. um, Airbnb used their user research in very apt way. They they did research on both sides, on what users are looking for and what hosts are looking for. If a host is giving their own house to a stranger, how can they feel more comfortable? So that is where they did a lot of market surveys, researches with people and hosts both, and then understood what are the key feature. And superhost is a key feature which Airbnb launched just because of this. Okay, going to the next stage is product development. In product development, you identified an idea, you identified, okay, this is something which you want to build, but you cannot build all the features you have in your mind. You want to prioritize some features, then you want to go to the next feature, then you want to go to the next feature. So how do you build a product in iterations? How do you prioritize the key features for a product? And eventually, how do you do the testing, right? For example, A/B testing is a very apt example of using the data. I have an idea, we should do X. Other person has an idea, we should do Y. Rather than we fighting it out and discuss on all the intuitions, let data speak itself. Let's do an A/B testing. Let's launch both the features to two different segments and see how engaged people are on that. And whoever wins, that feature goes ahead for everyone. Right? Um, Slack used it very, very well. Slack was one of the initial tool which was launched, not to replace the chat. It's not to replace Google Chat or Microsoft Link or something. The plan was to replace emails. So they, whenever they did all the brainstorming, all the iterations, they looked at all the features of emails which they can brought it to Slack. Okay. There is an email floating around, people are sharing their own ideas. I write an email, it goes, and then someone else write their own emails. You see on one topic there are chain of emails keep on happening. They decided, okay, let's how can we bring that feature here? They brought a group discussion, group chat feature on Slack. A huddle feature on Slack is exactly the same thing only. uh, on Slack, people putting out of office is one of the very interesting thing on chat. It's majorly an email feature which they brought it to Slack. But trying all these different things, Slack is the perfect example of using data to develop a very interesting product which is going amazing. Okay. Next stage is the product launch. You build a product. How will you launch the product? Who to target? What is your go to market strategy? What is the segmentation? You can't launch a product for everyone, right? So you need to know whatever product you are launching it for one specific segment, and that segment is, for example, if it's a tech savvy segment, then I need to make sure that when they are online, on which app they are online, I should market them there only. So I need to know what is my go to market strategy, what is the right segment for me, and what is the segment size as well. um, Pricing, what will you price? Will you What is that segment ready to pay? What are the other competitors paying? Budgeting, where will you spend your money in campaigns? Will you spend your money on social media campaigning? Will you spend your money on direct marketing, email marketing, phone channels? How will you spend that? What is the budget? How will you do the campaign analysis? What is the optimized effective way? And in that, I feel like Spotify did perfectly well when they launched a net new thing in the market, which is streaming, music streaming product. People were used to radios, people were used to downloading a lot of music, and they felt like this generation which is coming is looking for something which is very easy to access, ready to use, rather than looking for ways to download, and that piracy is increasing and number of other problems are there. So they identified the segment they're looking for are tech savvy people, 18 to 30 kind of generation which is looking to try new things. And then they looked at that and said, okay, we have identified one segment on age group, but there are different type of people in that only. There is one segment who's ready to pay whatever you ask them because they are well off. There are some people who are not ready to pay. They think like they're students. They feel like, if I can download the music, why should I even pay any money to listen to the music? Then there are people who are not willing to pay, but they are willing to pay for a week event, for 1 week, for 1 month only. So Spotify used all these knowledge, and then they put a price for their monthly plan. They put a price for a weekly plan, and the best feature I love about Spotify is they have a day plan as well. You are not willing to take a regular subscription, but you have a party at home. At that party, you don't want to have a lot of ads coming in between. So you take a 1 day plan only, which will charge you very nominal amount. And then for that day, there is no advertisements. Uh, but for one segment which is not ready to pay, what they looked at is that all the other people are bombarding them with ads. You listen to one song, there will be ad. In between the song, there will be ad. So they wanted to make sure that they are not ruining people's experience. So what they do, lot of time this has happened that when you switch on Spotify, they'll put an ad at the start for 20-30 seconds. You listen to that ad, and for next 30 minutes there will not be any ad. So they are targeting the right segment. They are making money also by ads, but at the same time, it's a right balance between the two. So Spotify is a very, very interesting case study in my mind, how they looked at each segment and then planned the pricing for each segment. Okay. Eventually going to product growth. You launched a product. This is going well with some people, and eventually you are planning how can you make it big. You want to make it a huge corporation. How can you do it? It's basically 1 to n, and n can be any fold, right? You need to make sure that you're monitoring your numbers very well. Where's data your money going? How many people are coming? How many people are joining? Are people feeling engaged? You cannot just be acquisition focus. You have to be engagement focus as well, right? You do cohort analysis. You identify on some cohorts what is that cohort looking for. One example can be, there are each product can have maybe 10 features, but not everyone is using those 10 features. There are people who are engaged with 2 features. There are other people who are engaged with other 2 features of that. So how do you identify those cohorts after you launch, and then make sure that you target that segment properly with more and more interesting features? uh, Very, very important. When you are in growth phase, you cannot put a blind eye on your existing customers. If there are bugs they are facing, how will you fix those bugs? How can you use data in this? Let's say if there are 5 bugs, I have only capacity to do 2 bugs only. How will you prioritize which bugs to prioritize? You use data for that. You use data to identify the root cause of these bugs as well. Okay. And again, the best example is Netflix. Netflix was launched as a initially DVD company, then a streaming company. They decided to put a lot of movies and like a video streaming company, and then they launched in US. But how did they move from one to n? They decided to go global. They identify the key markets where they want to go, and in that they did the cohort analysis by identifying and making lot of local language content. When like in India, they make sure very regularly they keep on putting very interesting local language content as well. It's very much obvious that what is working in US might not always work in India, right? It can work in India for some tech savvy people who are looking for all the US shows and movies and all the English movies. But if they have to capture their complete India market, they need to make sure that they are creating content for people. Okay, what is cohort analysis? Yeah, so cohort analysis exactly, Priyanshi, this only that when from US you came to India, in India you launched an app, you and identified there's very one specific type of segment who's engaging with that. And in that segment also there are people who are engaged with documentary kind of content. There are people who are engaged with different kind of, let's say, romantic movies and all the different. So you identify that niche segment, and then do you more cohort analysis on that group only, that what is this group looking for, how can I identify more things for that, right? uh, but one of the key feature which Netflix did was get into Hindi content. Not just Hindi content, they get into regional language content as well, when they started adding a lot of uh, south movies and all the in their own language. And that is when they started, okay, this is the next segment where I need to do my next cohort which I have to target. And then from there they move from 1 to n. Recently Kapil Sharma's show is, for example, on Netflix, which is they moved brought it from Sony to Netflix, which is an amazing tactics, because lot of people, the day to day middle class people, are used to listening to Kapil Sharma on weekends and laughing on his jokes. So that was the right people and then right segment to target. So I feel like that is an amazing strategy. Okay. And okay, next is, you think about retiring your product. Okay. um, you have to keep on monitoring your revenue. Are you making is your are you always positive, or suddenly you started seeing that revenue is going down? The users are not feeling that much engaged with your product. You do a competitor analysis and you see how many competitors, how are the competitors doing. If they are growing, you are not growing, there's something really off with your product. You look at your NPS is net promoter score, and this is a very one parameter to identify user satisfaction. And this is a very simple question where people ask, hey, how likely you are to recommend the product to your friends, and then rate us from 1 to 10, that is an NPS. And then eventually you need to create your sunset plan. BlackBerry is the perfect example for it. At one time BlackBerry was market leaders in the mobile phone segment, and suddenly they missed the race of Android and smartphone. And eventually they tried it very late, when Samsung and Apple and all the different products were brands were doing really good. They tried Android development as well, but their strategy, their style of creating product was not aligning with the market, with all the users. So when they started looking at it, that hey, we are putting more data into Android as well, still it is not going well. um, they had to take a decision to shut down the shop and say, hey, maybe we need to accept it that the phone market is over for us now, and then we need to eventually go from here. Okay. I'll take a pause on the entire life cycle. If there are any questions on it, if anyone wants to ask anything or want to make a comment, um, please go ahead. Okay. If it is all going well, you can give a thumbs up, you can say good, thank you. I'll get a feeling that you all are listening as well. Okay, let's go ahead. The next section is, thank you. I'm getting some responses. Thank you, sir. Good content. GTM strategy. Can you provide more details? Yeah. So GTM, could you please give us more insights on increasing NPS scores? Okay, let's go. Let's take this question one by one. GTM strategy. Go to market strategy is basically when how you are planning to target the market. Okay, how you are planning to cover more and more people, right? um so let's say I you created a product, and initially your go to market strategy is to do social media marketing. You see a lot of ads on Instagram, a lot of people are on Instagram these days. That is the right go to market strategy if you're targeting tech savvy people. But if you have created an app for senior citizens, right, then that is not the right market strategy. Right. So you need to make sure that your segment is directly linked to what is the strategy you are planning for that segment. So for whom you have created an app. And eventually there are multiple ways you can do a GTM strategy. Is one is directly providing some offers, sales based, people calling them. When you are into B2B product, you do more of a sales. If an organization is trying to identify a product, they will rarely pick an Instagram ad. They will look for people to submit quotations, their ideas, and then from there they'll identify which one to pick. um, uh, Product led growth. We call it members of this product only. Launch a campaign. Hey, you'll get a 10% discount if you refer more people to the product. Right. That is a product led growth where the people are referring only, and then they get some benefit, and in that you bring more and more people to it. Right. So there are multiple GTM strategies. Like it can be a separate topic, but very high level. identify the right segment, identify the right strategy which can work for it, identify the right marketing campaign for it, and then play it all together to, okay, this is the right strategy. Once you have launched it, then from there, initial launch, you can go for direct marketing. After you launch, you should go for an organic growth where if people can only, word of mouth can be good example. People referring the app is a good example. Can you please give us some insights on increasing NPS score? Okay, and like, it's a very interesting, very detailed topic. But NPS is very simple, guys. Net Promoter Score. So how, if people are happy with your product, people will be very happy to refer as well. People will be very happy to refer this product to other friends. People will be very happy to talk about this product on social media also. If they are not happy with the product, if their problem is not getting solved, if they are facing lot of hindrance when their problem is getting solved, they will always face that maybe this is not a good idea. Always understand, and it's a good example which I generally use for referrals. When people ask for referrals, if I am referring someone to someone in my organization, my brand is also there, that Bhupesh has recommended this person. Bhupesh must have recommended a good person only. Let's say if that person doesn't do well in the interview, and or after getting selected as well, that directly impacts my brand. Okay. Next time if I refer someone, people will not be considering that, yeah, maybe you are not that authentic when you are referring, right? You are just referring it to gain some referral bonus or anything. The same thing is there for products as well. I will only listen to people's recommendation if they are genuinely recommending something interesting which they find value with, right? So organic style is the best style. So whenever you're trying to solve it, you need to understand, one of the key example for increasing net promoter score is what is the best feature people are using, what is the main feature people are using most often. Let's say you have a feature where people can book movie tickets as well, people can book some events also, and then people can transfer money also. I'm just making an example. Let's say, and you feel like your main feature is transferring money, but most people want to use it for movie bookings. If you keep on focusing on your transfer money feature, you want to make it more streamlined, more clean, and not focus on your movie feature, people will not be happy with it. So you need to understand, look at the data, which key feature people are want to use, and then you make sure that, hey, right now this is a 5 step process for someone to book a ticket. Can I bring it to 3 step process? When you do that, that directly relates with people and like, hey, this is the best app to book movie tickets. Others are lot of movies, lot of things, lot of steps you need to do. But here you just do 3 steps in the movie, like you can book a movie ticket. People will be more happy to refer your product, and that's how eventually you can increase your NPS score. Okay. How can you make GTM strategy better? Okay, you can make GTM strategy better by using all the data. Initially, you use a lot of hybrid techniques. You do direct marketing, you do influencer marketing, you do lot of sales as well. You do lot of SMS marketing also, and eventually you, based on that, you look at that and then identify which segment is engaging it more. And then maybe you initially identified this is only for tech savvy people, but in the tech savvy also it is only working for tier 1 city people only. So that is where you need to make sure that your campaign analysis is very well used, and then from there you can bring that all together to make sure that, hey, maybe let's um, not target tier 2 cities right now. Tier 1 cities are engaging it more, and initially our focus is more on engagement and acquisition. Let's make sure that's target tier 1 strategy. So that's how you improve your GTM strategy on regular basis. How we can do the surveys for product discovery phase for B2B products. Okay. Um, Surveys is not a very good way when you're working on a B2B product. The best way to get more ideas about in the discovery is interviews only. You need to reach out to corporate professionals, the B2B business leaders, and then talk to them and understand their pain points, and then only they'll be happy to answer the queries. So B2B is always a slow process compared to B2C, but that's how it works. how to make it GTM from scratch using primary and secondary research. Okay, in the interest of time, I'll just take this last question and then we'll move forward. Otherwise, we'll miss a lot of other topics as well. How to make it GTM strategy from using primary and secondary research? As a product manager, if you ask me, the best thing to do is you should have some idea about it. That I want to target this segment. I'll give an example. Let's say I'm making an Instagram today. Okay. I know that I want to target people who have a smartphone, who are in range of 18 to 30, who are in tier 1 cities, and I'm just launching. There's nothing like this in market now. Tier 2 cities have, there's a lot of penetration for tier 2. I'm just making it. Then in that segment, I just have this idea. In that idea, as a product manager, my job is to make sure that I have this first level of first hand knowledge, and then I'll go to marketing team only to say, hey, I want to target these people. You are marketing expert. What do you think is the right strategy? Right? But it's very important for a PM to talk in the same language with these marketing people rather than just leaving completely up to them. If my focus is to make sure that I want more and more acquisition, and then marketing, I started marketing on more engagement and more active user, this there's a conflict between the why of it, right? So how can you make it? It's basically very simple. You need to have some basic ideas. From those basic ideas, you need to talk to marketing people in their language, and then eventually you can make the entire GTM strategy. But it's not like you are completely dependent on marketing. You need to have some knowledge. Okay, thanks a lot for the questions. I hope I was able to answer, and it was you got all the answers. Let's quickly move to the next section. The next section is key concepts. Okay, so on data, the first and foremost thing is the data itself. Okay, if you don't have the data, you can't use data analytics, you can't take data driven decisions, right? The first thing to collect data, which generally is surveys, questionnaires, interviews, focus group discussions, and you basically try to get more and more feedback from people, and then gather that as direct feedback, you can call it, and then you store a lot of data. Coke is the right example for it. Coke takes very detailed feedback for all the different products, and from those products, they want to understand what people are liking, what people are not liking, which what taste they are liking. Right? Eventually, user tracking, and this is the second time where you're not reaching out to customers to give you feedback, but you are monitoring what those users are doing on your product. I give an example of three features, and then eventually your focus is more on transferring money, but they are doing more of a movie booking. Until unless you log this entire journey, what customers are doing with your product, you won't be able to get this insight that okay, this is maybe right now I should start focusing on this. This is something which is really engaging customers, and Amazon does it really well. They they monitor where did you click, what did you search, which product did you pick, what are the, if you're reading features, if you're reading product description, if you're reading all the feedback, are you just checking the ratings or everything or not. So they look at each and everything, they track everything, and then um, you search today about bags, and tomorrow onwards you'll start seeing Amazon giving you bags recommendation everywhere. That is where they're tracking what you are doing with the product. Another example is feedback loops, where like Microsoft has done a great job in that too. They launched a Windows product, and then when people are calling them to, hey, this is not working, that is not working, that is the first feedback people are giving about that product. They'll help them, CCPs will help them, but eventually Microsoft will again reach out to ask feedback about that conversation. Were we able to solve your problem or not? How would you like to improve our product? Is there anything else you want help with? So there is a feedback loop which keeps on going. um, uh, Putting comments is a very good example of that as well. Like Airbnb does that, where you put in comment, and then Airbnb ask all the hosts to make sure that they respond to the comments as well. where someone has given a comment, you put a feedback and say, hey, we'll take care of it, we accept it, and then eventually that becomes one kind of a comment, becomes one kind of a feedback loop for you. Okay. Now, the second key thing is how many types of data you have. There are two types of data. First is quantitative, which we all understand. What is your age? How many people are engaging with that data, our product? What is the sales number? What is the money we are getting? All these things are like specific, basic. Whenever we think about data, we think about this quantitative data only. Where Google does it best, they have their web analytics, their sales data, user metrics, all of the things they track really well, and they measure the performance and trends. But qualitative data is very important from product point of view. All the surveys, all the interviews, all the focus group discussions where um, 10 people are talking in a group, and then from that discussion you are bringing all the content at one place and saying, hey, this is what I understood from this. So you need to make sure that you can make sense out of it, right? Surveys, let's say I launch a survey and then 100,000 people responded to that survey. I'm 100% sure it will not be 0 or 1, that 100% people liked it or 0% people liked it. It won't be like that. It'll be like of 70, 80, 80, 100, something like that. And how can I make sense out of that qualitative data? What are people behaviors? What is their motivation when they're trying to use it? Are they liking it or not? What is one thing they would like to improve? All the different things is a qualitative data which I have to make sense out of. Then a lot of time we have, for example, NPS is a very good example. Will you refer this product to your friends? And we have converted that into quantitative data on 0 to 10 matrix, right? And it's very important to understand that you need to work with both kind of data for a successful to make a successful product. Okay. And other key concept is what are the different type of analytics techniques which you use. One is descriptive analytics, where you look at your past data, you picked last 5 years sales, which product was sold more, from which area you got all the sales and everything. It's all about historical data, and then just you look at that only. Coke does it really well by looking at their historical example, like which product people are liking it more, so that they manufacture that product more. They look at the inventory, and then hey, we send an inventory 6 months back on X product these many times, these many sales have happened, maybe we should manufacture this product more because the sales are more for this, and then refill it regularly. If X city is selling Y kind of product, and then other cities selling other kind of product, we need to make sure which one to fill where. So that is very good strategy from Coke point. Diagnostic analytics is basically identify the root cause, why it is happening. You need to uncover lot of reasoning behind the the event which is happening, the outcome or the trend. Facebook does a very good job in it when they are trying to, when they're looking at, they used to launch surveys, they used to launch what kind of personality I am, and then see they, when they're looking at that, hey, people are engaging with uh, more on these days, less on these days, why is it happening? People are engaging with this type of content more versus not this kind of content more, why is it happening? People are more likely to drop out of when they are doing this versus that, what is the reason behind it? They look at all of those things when they do the diagnostic analytics, is to identify the reason behind why it is happening. Okay. Piece is predictive analytics. It's like looking into a crystal ball and asking, hey, what will be the future? And that thing which we used to look at into magic stories and everything is very true when you use the data to do it. Stock market, people predict trends there where it'll go up or down. Netflix does it very well by recommending the right type of content to us. We'll talk about it, it's one of the case study as well. But they look at your historical behavior, historical data, and all the things, all the different features, and then identify what should be the trend for it. Will it go up? Will it go down? So that you can plan your future accordingly. And last is prescriptive analytics, where you are not just predicting based on the data, you are giving them actionable insights also. And the right example for this is when Amazon delivery people are delivering goods, they have multiple goods to deliver on one day. They use data to give the right path, all the GPS path for all the delivery people, so that they traverse through the minimal distance rather than they keep on going back, coming back, going back, coming back. Right. So they have a one direction only. So it has happened multiple times that if I'm not at home, I ask Amazon person to come back later. They say, "Sir, it'll come tomorrow only. We are very sorry, we can't come back later." Because they have a fixed route to deliver, and in that all the data is being used using GPS and all the different data points, and then a perfect route is planned so that they are doing prescriptive analytics to plan the route for the people. Okay, these are some of the key concepts from data analytics point of view. And we'll quickly go toward what are the key challenges generally people face when they are trying to work with data. um, some of the basic I'll cover some in the interest of time. Okay, so data integrity is first and foremost, where can you trust the data you have? Can you trust the data accuracy? Can you trust its completeness? Can you trust its recency or not? If I have to do some analysis today for my product, and if I'm using 5-year old data, there's no point of it. If I have to do a research for my product today, and then I am looking at some report by on and picking anyone from internet, someone has written a blog, and I start using that, no, that's not right. I have to i have to trust the data sources as well, from where we are getting the data. That is why a lot of these data companies, when they generate reports, those are being trusted a lot by other companies, right? Data overload. This is a perfect example. Every second we are generating insane number of data, and right now when everything is getting captured, your expression, your what you're saying, your clicks, your behavior, everything, it becomes so important for you to know which data to log, which data to capture, at the same time which data you want to use for your future products, which is not relevant for your future product features and which is relevant. So that data overload is one of the biggest challenge people face when they are looking at it. If you're working on a 1 billion records, 100 million records, you need to make sure that you're working on a data which is very easy to access also. And third is data interpretation. um, all the Google Analytics and all the different products which are um, available in the market, which can directly give you all the dashboards they can create, Tableau or anything. But if you can't interpret the business insights out of it, there is no point of having that data, right? So the data interpretation is one of the key challenge people face. People, a lot of people are very happy with creating histograms and line charts, and everything looks very fancy, but where is going, what is the insight you are generating out of that is more important. Fourth is intuition. I have seen a lot of people not even looking at the data and then just going completely by their intuition. What I'm saying is, not you should not go by intuition, but you have to mix both the things. Maybe convert your intuition into a hypothesis, use data to validate that hypothesis, and then go with that gut feel, and then only make new features for the product, rather than flat going by a either by a senior leadership what other people are asking, and then, hey, no, go ahead, build it, I know best, you don't know, I'm here in the market more than for more years than you, just go ahead and build it. No, you have to bring data and intuition both. Stakeholder buy-in. You generally get once a week, once in 2 weeks, 30 minute, 45 minute, 1 hour with the stakeholders whenever you're making it. In that time, you need to make sure that you provide all the right things for those stakeholders to buy in what you are saying. And for that, the best thing for your own confidence as well, rather than saying we have seen most of people are using this, we have looked at some people's behavior, they are looking to do try this. You go ahead and directly say, hey, 80% of people are looking for these kind of features, we have tried this as a survey, and then this is the key reason for it. When we launch it, add X price, and then this will be the revenue or business for us. The competitor has already tried it. When they launched it on this price point and thing. So when you bring the real data points, stakeholders are more more inclined toward buying what you are trying to say, and then they're more inclined toward giving a go ahead. And finally, the very important thing which is new in the market is data privacy and security. How you are storing the data, what data you are capturing, are you allowed to capture their data or not? If customer is asking, hey, delete my data, are you deleting the data? Right? Are you more open to privacy concerns? Right? So that is one of the key challenge people face. And a lot of time when a new product is getting launched, data privacy and security is the least last feature they have in their mind. And eventually what happens, they don't understand, they become little big, and then to bring data privacy and security becomes a huge challenge for them, because it's a already set ecosystem. That's how the system is working. Okay, very important. How can you be data savvy? How can you make sure that you start looking at more data, understanding more data insight, generate more insights from data, and you start doing all of these things? And in that, there is, first and foremost, there are some basic things which you need to take care of. The first, you need to develop a strong foundation in data analytics. You can do Google Analytics mixed panel kind of tools as well. You can go to YouTube, you can do a small tutorials. There are a lot of, like, I'm 100% sure that IPL is also, this institute is also teaching data analytics by Google Analytics and all. But when you're working for a big corporate firms, bigger firms, lot of times maybe Google Analytics is not the go-to tool. You have to get hands on the right data, which is a structured or your relationship database. SQL is as a language. You need to make sure that you have basic skills in SQL as well. Where you can get the data, look at the data yourself, make a sense out of it, do a little bit of analysis on that. But for a bigger analysis, you have data team you can go out to, but you need to make sure that you can get into those discussions. You need to have data driven decision making framework. A/B testing is a great example of it. Segmentation is a great example of it. You need to make sure that you are not just going by their intuition. You take help of the data to support you to make the right decisions wherever possible. Okay, gain hands-on exposure with data tools. We talked about it, like it's Google Analytics, Tableau, visualization tools. Start making these, start getting hands-on experience with it. But one of the key problem in the market is when you go and start learning about Tableau or SQL is they'll tell you things how to do. Okay, group by this, you'll get a query, create a graph out of it. You can create a graph, but the data intuition comes when you start understanding that graph and say, hey, maybe this region has most number of sales, this region has least number of sales. I these are the insights I can generate. When you can take the data from their visualization and from that data and then convert it into a business language, two or three statements, that is where you start becoming data savvy. Okay, collaborate with data teams. Don't don't come blindly rely on what data team is telling. Don't decide, okay, it's not my job, I cannot do anything, I cannot do that level of get into that level of details when I'm talking to data teams. So let me make sure um, you also need to start getting into those data discussions. Why do you think it is happening? Why do you think we should target this? Okay, what are the reports you looked at? I feel like we should look at this type of number as well. Maybe we should look at this type of number as well. So when you get into that root cause analysis mindset, you start asking the right metric to generate it by either Google Analytics or mixed panel or from the data team you have. And then that is expected from product managers to help data team decide which metric to generate. Continuously improve data literacy. You need to make sure that you're connected with what is happening in the market. AI is there right now. AI is all about use so much data, and then from there you can do so many different things. How is it happening? Why is it happening? What is the use case for it? What are the different use cases people are planning from this data? That is where you need to start getting connected with more people, join different groups, data groups, join different communities which are having discussion on, join these kind of webinars where data driven decisioning is being discussed. Cultivated data mindset and seek mentorship are a couple of other points where you need to make sure that you start reaching out to people who are already doing it, who are using data to create more products and launch the successful products. You start reaching out to them and then seek mentorship. How can you also enhance your data savviness? Okay, please understand, data savviness is not only for analytical people only. That only if someone is looking for analytics, they should only focus about analytics. If the job is product manager, my job is to make sure I know product life cycle, I have an idea on features. It is expected out of you to have an opinion about A versus B. Like, there are two features to be developed. Product manager should have an idea which to build, or based on their guess, but it's okay, not on guess. Next, add data to it. But then, what kind of data you are looking to support, which feature to launch, is expected out of all the product managers. And then that you can only do once you understand what kind of data you already have, what kind of data you already capture from customers, what kind of metric can support me in launching it, or it can be just an idea which might not be true in the market. And last piece is how to apply your data driven decisioning. It's a very basic, how do you ensure yourself from all the failures, or the product failures, right? When you start taking a lot of data driven decisions, there is a huge probability that you will not fail. You will be insured from all the failures. And it's a very simple form. I is identify a problem you want to solve, right? Identify the data which is collected, which can support you, which can look at the problem and then say, hey, this kind of data needs to be stored. If you're looking for a problem that people are spending too much time on mobile phone, you need to identify where that data is getting captured on an average, how many people are spending time. Can I divide it by geographies? It might be different for age groups. Maybe 15 to 25 age group is spending more time. All of these things are your thing, and then you need to make sure that, is there somewhere this data is being captured, then only I can go and validate. For that validation, you need to pick the right analytical technique. Are you looking for more of a descriptive analytics to just justify it, or you're looking more of a solution where it can predict for future as well? Then understand and visualize data. You need to make sure that, okay, this is the data I have, these are the different kind of visualization report I'm looking for, which can support me in my hypothesis, which can validate it. And then you look at that and then identify, and eventually you do a root cause analysis, identify all the logs, and then you find the right problem and solve it and execute the solutions. So all of the things are driven by data only. What are the next bug you are fixing, what is the next feature you are launching, are all driven by data. Okay. Yeah. Before going to case studies, I'll take a pause, and if there are any questions, happy to answer. Servicing TA, I feel like I don't know the full form of this. I know there are a couple of acronyms on the presentation. What is the full form of TA? I think, okay, thank you is the full form of TA. Okay. Perfect. Shall we go to case study? Thumbs up. Cool. Okay. The first case study we have is, please mention some tools for analytics for desktop application using or any means. For any application, I think the best, easiest, or you can directly use it off the shelf is Google Analytics is one of the best thing. And then the second is use Mixpanel, which gives lot more features on top of Google Analytics. But if you're trying to build more more detailed, more solid product, then it's best to track users' behavior, on which feature they're looking, log all the reactions, all the behaviors, and then from the logging, start doing more and more things. And then from there, you can start identifying how to launch it. Okay. So currently, I'm in BCom honors second year, so I need to add that I have attended this wonderful workshop in Venice, so it is possible to provide the certificate too. I don't think we do any like do give any certificates, but definitely you can add it to your resume. I think this is simple, and if you need more help, we can connect one to one as well. Okay, thank you. Let's go to some of the case studies. Okay, first case study, which is a very generic problem people face. um, App crashes reported by users. I'm a product manager of an app, and someone is making a noise. Hey, your app is crashing too many times, too many times. What is happening? What should a PM do? Let's make it little engaging. Let's look for ideas from people. What is the first thing you want to do when you get this kind of a statement from people? Take a pause. I hope and some people are writing. Any idea, guys? There's no right or wrong in product management. There's a good thing about product management. Performance. Any new updates to app? Check for metrics. Need troubleshoot to find the causes issue. Perfect. Okay. The first and foremost thing is do not panic. Okay, because when people say, hey, too many times it is crashing, always remember some isn't a number and soon isn't a time. You have to put it properly, how many times it is crashing. Until unless you're putting, you should not go by just people's perception. Maybe someone was using it, it crashed twice, he was doing the same operation, and they started directly challenging this app is crashing too many times. Okay, so that is the first thing. But what's the next thing to do? You start collecting more and more data. What is the data you want to collect? You have to have logs. If I have reliable logs from recently, from last 24 to 48 hours, thank you, Vijay, very well. Sorry for the inconvenience and asked to connect and gather data points. But as a product manager, I need to have the data points. I have to log it when I'm launching it. I need to understand then there only that I at least I want to know how many time my app crashed. For that, I need to have all the logs. But from there, generally it goes into, let's think of it this way: if you are just a movie booking website, who log in, what is their ID password, what time they log in, which browser they log in, which device they log in on, what is the first link they clicked on, what is the information they passed, was it successful or not. These are the things I want to know about the customer, and these are all the things. Now is this is not a relationship database, guys. This is more of a log, that for each user, because there is no fix, right? I can keep on doing multiple things on the app. So it has becoming a logging feature where whenever you start using any app or any feature, it start logging all the behaviors. And whenever you work with the data or thing, there is an API, and you need some information, that there's an API request and response, and that is also a log. So you need to make sure that if you want to validate this hypothesis that if your app is crashing too many times, the first and foremost thing is, do I have confidence in my logs which I have, and am I capturing it properly? Was there any failure yesterday? Because of that, I don't have the data. If you have the data collection pretty well, then next thing you go is you start look at the matrix first. You looked at the matrix and you're like, okay, it is crashing somehow, but it's not crashing too many times. It's crashing for 0.1% times only. For 99.9% time, it is working fine. What is the next thing you want to know? Okay, tell me, guys, what is the next thing you want to check after this? At least you can take a sigh of relief. It is not crashing too many times. It's not a fire. Generally in corporate we will say fire. It's not that. But why 0.1%? What should be the next step you want to do? Please put in chat. New version release happened. In a mature product, we go for Splunk dashboard to put on live tracing as performance. Very good. RCA, perfect. Understand the reason. Could be more number of products. Perfect. Okay. So it's just one product. It's an application for you. On that application, this is crashing. So it's like, let's think about that app as product now. So now 0.1% of time this app is crashing. The next thing to know is, because it's an application, it has pages, right? I want to know at which page it is crashing. Is it crashing any number of pages, like anywhere it is crashing, or there is some kind of a trend I can identify? It's the right thing, is the root cause analysis only. I assess in that root cause analysis, and I identified that app is crashing on one page, that is address update. On all other page, app is working fine. So the first thing I want to understand is on which page it is crashing. If it is crashing for, let's say, 20% login, 20% address update, checkout, so maybe a page, it's not something related to page, right? It might be some other problem because of which it is happening. But if it is, if like, what is the insight you are getting from this is that there's one page which is an address update page. From there, this app is crashing. What is the next thing you want to look at? Like, is it whenever I log in and I go to this, and always a click on address update, I want to click an address update page open. From which page I am moving? Is it crashing all the time on address update page, or there are some specific pages from where it is only crashing? And when I look at it, I identified when you are at profile page and want to go to address update, it is not crashing, it's 0%. But when you are at a checkout page and suddenly you want to go back and address update page, it is crashing most number of times. When you are at a cart page, when you're looking at your cart, it is crashing second number, which is like 30% of time, right? So you start looking, okay, maybe there are two or three pages, and whenever from there someone click an address update page, it is crashing most number of time. What can be the reason? Maybe address update page is looking for a parameter which is being passed from other pages but not from these pages. And you identified it might be a new feature which got added. They're looking for an ID, they're looking for a name, they're looking for the last updated address, something or other which needs to be passed on but is not being passed on when they are at these two, three pages. And you talk to your technology team, and then you go ahead and solve it and fix it. Okay, the recap of this case study basically is, whenever from a crash point of view, the key thing is you collect the data, you collect the crash logs, you look at the error reports, you look at the user feedbacks, you review those logs and identify a pattern. Your intent is to identify pattern. If there's no pattern, there is still a pattern of, if let's say rather than address update it was 100, it was 15 address update and a 50% on profile page. These are two different patterns. You need to look at these two different journeys in a different way. Maybe there are two bugs rather than one bug. And eventually you do the root cause analysis. You assess the data, you assess the matrix, you assess the logs, and then identify, and then eventually you solve it. And then going forward, make sure that you are not dependent on someone else raising a concern. You yourself are also monitoring the data regularly, you harmonize it, you put the postfix data, you monitor it regularly to make sure the data is stable, your app is stable. Okay, so this is a very basic, very generic case study we generally get on whenever our app is crashing. And a lot of time, um, I have seen in my own experience, product managers do two things. Either they start challenging data team and say, hey, can you do the root cause, can you understand it, why it is happening, why it is happening? Or they directly go to their engineering team and say, hey, you go ahead and figure it out for me, I don't know what is happening. Rather than having some hypothesis or working with data team to say, hey, I want to look at this, I want to look at this next, I want to look at this next, and then you can yourself drive the root cause analysis of it. Okay, let's go to the case study number two. Are we good till now? We go ahead. The next case study we have is how Netflix's recommender system personalizes user experience. Okay, and how Netflix uses all the data they have to make it most engaging um, video streaming video app, where whenever you go you will always find something of your interest. You are more likely to click on the top two or three recommendation and then watch it, rather than they are putting random things. How does it happen? So the key steps basically are the three things. How Netflix, and when I'm saying Netflix, any e-commerce website also recommend products to you, right? Be it Amazon, be it in like how Instagram recommends you reels for you to watch. So the first and foremost thing is data collection. Netflix has insane number of movies. They don't just have a movie name and movie title, they have everything. They have movie name, when was it released, who's the cast of it, director, what is the people's rating, all the different, what is the business they did, IMDb rating of it. They have so many, we call it metadata, about all the different unique records That is the first thing from data collection, but they have to make sure they have all the right data. Think of it this way: if a comedy movie is tagged as a romantic movie on Netflix, and based on that, for someone who's not into comedy movies, start getting those comedy movies as recommendation, it's a very bad customer experience. So having that data stored properly, accurately in itself becomes so important for Netflix's success. Okay. The other thing is user interactions. What is my past behavior? Where do I click? What do I view? What is my rating of that? Did I watch that movie completely, or I left it in between? Did I watch it in one go? Did I watch it in multiple instances? All the different things are also stored. So one is at a movie level, at a content level. Second is at a user level. As a user, what all I have watched, what is the rating I have given, if I've completed it or not, and all the other things. And then finally, you have contextual data, which is which device are you more of a mobile person or a TV person? Do you watch movies in the daytime with family? Best model is to attract viewers' attention with similar movie options. Perfect. Yeah. And contextual data, what time of the day you watch movies, right? Um, a small example is lot of time when you're sitting in the evening, Netflix recommends you series, Netflix recommends you, they understand there's a binge watching concept now. But in the daytime when you're trying to see, sometime it'll recommend you a small movie which is a 2 hour movie, or a series whose episodes are 20 or 30 minutes. To keep that in mind as well, that people might not have 2 or 3 hours when they are watching on daytime, but when at night time they are recommending, they recommend something which people can watch. So there's a very beautiful example of Netflix competitor is not YouTube, Netflix competitor is sleep. They're trying to get all the time which you can spend sleeping. They want to make sure that keep on giving you right thing. And same is these days it's happening with Instagram as well, where the model is completely different from Netflix. You search it, you look at it, you read about it, and then you pick it. Instagram brings the dopamine feature of um, giving you something new every second, and then with that, you don't even realize how much time you spend on it. Right? Um, thank you, Rashmi. The second is data analytics on it. What type of data analytics you want to do? You want to use all of this and predict what is the probability of Bhupesh watching X movie versus Y movie versus Z movie, and then in that order, put that there. Um, what is the probability of someone going to Amazon and pick this product? So that show that product on the top. Okay. So these are some of the things you use data, and then you do the prediction analytics based on that. And then the other thing you do is you make sure that you do data processing, and then in the data processing you do a lot of data cleaning, normalization, and then you do the feature extraction to do the recommendation. Okay. Now what happens next? This is a perfect example, a small, I'll make to make sure that we all understand it. So there is a user A who watches movie A and watches movie B, and they put, let's say they liked movie A, gave a 5 star, watched movie B, gave a 5 star. So, and similarly a user B watched movie A, B and C as well, and they gave the similar rating. So this is a very basic first level of user based collaborative filtering. I'm like, we have used very simple example. It goes like lot more features are part of this filtration. And what happens is, if a user A and user B are similar users, in analytics we call it KNN, try to find put similar kind of people in one group. If I also like comedy movies, user B also like comedy. If I am liking more Indian movies, user B is also liking Indian movies. Then these are two similar kind of people you have uh, with the same kind of mindset. What you can do, you can recommend A's movies which we have not watched and B's movie to A, and then see people what is the probability of people clicking it more. So in this example, what happens? User B has watched C and then that person liked it. It will get recommended to user A. If user A clicks on it, watches it, likes it, then user A and B becomes more strong cohort, more strong cluster, so that these recommendations are very well used to give to each other. But what is more important is to make sure that all this data about these movies, about the cast, about everything, all the ratings, all the past behavior, everything is stored very well and being used. Another algorithm which gets used is content based filtering, right? um let's say the one is like identifying the right similar type of people, but let's say there are not similar type of people. The other complete type is content based. if you have if you watch Stranger Things and Black Mirror, if you guys have watched it, these are very interesting sci-fi horror drama movies which are technology based. Some are supernatural. You have watched these things, then based on similar content, I will recommend you a series which is dark, which is also sci-fi thriller. One is horror, one is drama. Maybe you like sci-fi more, so I'll recommend dark things to you, and then you can use those things, and then the probability of you watching it is increases a lot. Okay, so how Netflix recommends? Netflix basically recommends use based on your on the data which is being collected. Netflix recommends based on all the things you have watched, your own past behavior as well. Netflix recommends you things based on your similar people behavior as well. So that, think of this, if there are 10 million Netflix users, I need to do a very good level of alignment that who are the people who are similar to Bhupesh. And for me to do that level of processing, data has to be very neat, clean, and properly stored, and which can be reutilized. Okay. And then once you do that, from there you can identify which are the right kind of things you can recommend. Okay. With that, if there are any questions, I'm happy to take it. In the meantime, I think we have good 30 minutes to take questions. Um, if you are there, please scan the QR code. There will be feedback form. You can use it on your mobile phone as well. Please submit the feedback. Would love to hear your thoughts, and it will help me also improve for future. And at the same time, if there are any questions, we can start taking questions. If you have all filled the feedback, make sure that you put a thumbs up, you acknowledge it, so that then eventually, maybe after 10 minutes, I'll stop sharing the screen so that we can you can see me on complete screen and I can answer your queries. Yeah, Haleen. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful session, Bhupesh. It was very good. I think we have a few questions coming in. We have Guru Prasad who's asked, is technical background important for product management?
That's a very good question, Guru Prasad. What is happening these days is product management is being used as an umbrella term, and all the people, whatever they want to do, they are using product management is the key term. Product, we are looking for product manager, we are looking for product manager, but the the key is in the job description when you read about it. So if I'm looking for Google or Apple, where all the products are like super critical data, the technical products only, there people look for someone having technical expertise um, on some of the products. But if I look for example, for Instagram, and then Instagram has a reel feature, and then Instagram plan, hey, my focus is more on growth. I want to make sure that people use my app more and more. I'm more of a growth. I don't know how it will happen, but my interest is if we can give them more things which are similar to what they have already watched, they will be very much willing to try it. So then in this case, I am not a technical product. I'm just a growth product manager who's looking for to take business from one to and to eventually rise it to take it further. So there are different kind of product manager. There's a data product manager as well, which takes care of the entire data. So in Netflix or in Instagram, all the details of this data they have on content, on movies, and all the different features, it has to be stored properly and then should be used properly. So those are different data product manager. So it's not a must now. Previously it was like a must, but these days I feel like there is a good mix of both kind of things as well. There are some product managers which are technical product manager. There are some which are just a growth product manager or data product managers. Thank you, Sujoy. Please fill the feedback as well.
We have another question from Brian. I'll read it out. Yeah, I don't think that's exactly a question,
No,
but
that's a
Brian,
that's a good comment. Thank you, Brian, for putting it. The type of A/B testing, content-based filtering, selection is very complex and requires deep stats analysis on extremely large data set. Don't get stuck into causation. That is a very apt example in data, causation and correlation, basically, where you feel like this is happening because of that only, and then you keep on thinking about that. It's not the right thing. So sometimes this is a correlation, right? So and this is right. This is very complex, but the intent is not to get into complexity. The intent is to have that mindset, at least to challenge it, to look at more data. Thanks, Brian, for that. How can a data analytics background person in finance industry pivot to product? Oh, you should talk to me one to one. That's the same. I am the same person. I moved from data to product in the same finance industry. Is taking paid courses helpful in landing a job in product since I don't have a product background? Taking paid courses definitely help. We are here because of Institute Product Leadership. I will definitely not say no to that. It's always good to get the right learnings, the conventional learnings about product management. You need to know about that, because I'll tell you the key reason behind that is product management use some key terms. You need to make sure that you know about those. And I know it's getting recorded, but I'll use a very light example. Before product management also, we all were doing meetings, right? You used to check in, hey, what is the status of it, what is the status of it. Product management people don't call it meetings, we call it daily standard. Before product management, people were having plans for future. Sorry, I have to move out of the room as well. I'll just take this last question. So, product management is basically you need to understand all the key terms, all the key strategies, all the life cycles as well, and that you need to do to make sure that you get more knowledge. Now, it's up to you to decide at what level of expertise you planning, and then you can go for a high paid courses as well. You can go for certification. You can go for just basic knowledge also, that someone as a one-to-one mentor also can help you, that hey, whatever you did, this is also a product. I can help you pivot this to put it into a product management ecosystem so that you can get all the key terms as well. Okay. um,
Okay, we have a question from Ayush who has asked, how do you balance innovation with the risk of alienating your current user base?
okay. I hope, I wish there was a very simple answer to it. The answer to this is experimentation only, where you don't you don't disrupt the entire product in one go, right? If you were a movie booking app, and then currently suddenly you want to convert yourself into a travel booking app, you don't disrupt it suddenly. So you innovate, and in that innovation you make slow changes. You do lot of A/B testing. You test it, whatever idea you have, with lot of people, lot of users, and then see how they are reacting, and then make a slow change. Slack is an amazing example for it. From where Slack started, from where Slack is today, lot of things has already changed in that, and all of those things are all because of that only, right? So that is the only way to innovate. I would say. Thank you, Saurabh. I hope you have filled this feedback. Thank you, Praveen. Rohit, how much role of a AI product manager is hype currently in the market? What requires skill sets are required to gain that knowledge? Okay. Definitely, there's a hype in the market. Whoever is using whatever they are using, they're calling themselves. We have used AI for it. Maybe they're just searching on Chat GPT, something like that. So I won't deny it, but at the same time, I won't completely say this is completely wrong or completely not worth using. This is here. You need to make sure that you use AI for all your help, all the right uses to make your life easy. Now, um all this ML recommendation, artificial intelligence based solutioning, um I'll give you a small example. Let's say today you go to Make My Trip, and on the Make My Trip, you go and search for a journey that you want to do it for abroad, let's say Dubai, and then say, hey, can you create a plan for me? Make My Trip, what will Make My Trip do? Make My Trip will put all the 10 different Dubai packages they have, and then you need to decide what works for best for you or not. Let me give you an AI use of this. You go to Make My Trip, and then you tell about yourself. Hey, I am this person. I belong to this city. These are my interests. I like to watch these movies. I like to go to parties. I like to go to adventure parks. I do this, and then you just keep on bombarding Make My Trip with information, and then you tell all about yourself. And then now you say, hey, Make My Trip, can you plan a travel package for me for Dubai for 5 days? It will use all your information and put it on all the information they have. They'll make sure that they'll skip, if you are a art person, then they'll put museums visits in that. If you're an adventure person, they'll add more adventures to that. And all of that can happen in seconds, in minutes only. That is the value add of AI, where personalization can become really, really helpful for everyone to get, rather than getting generic things, even though generic things might have already been tried because of a number of things, right? So for example, these recommender system and everything are all those things. But if you need to make, let's say there are 1 million users, you can make 10 or 20 or 30 different kind of personas, right? Can you make 1 million personas? That is possible only with AI. Thank you. So as a beginner, where should I start my learning of data analyst used in product management? Start with SQL, database language. That's a very, very basic thing. Learn for SQL, learn a data visualization. So when I generally mentor people on both the things. How can you use data? You can write queries on it, you can generate insights on it, and then bring it to Excel pivot tables, and then from there you can create your different graphs, paths, and everything, and generate a story out of it. Is that what I'm looking for? I'm from an analytics person. I'm not looking for someone who can create very beautiful charts only. So if you need to just start with SQL and Excel. There's a like bare minimum. From there you can go to little bit of Python. If you're not into coding, make sure you go to Google Analytics and Mixpanel. uh, you understand all the different KPIs, read about the KPIs as well, and learn about Tableau is a visualization tool, very important for someone to know. And 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 then do lot of case studies, lot of root cause analysis. How can you use data to solve the problems?
Great. Thanks for that, Bhupesh. We've received a few questions on LinkedIn. I'll just read them out to you.
Yeah.
We have Divya who has asked, how can we use data analytics for offline products and what kind of metrics can we track?
Okay, so when you say offline products, I am thinking more like, let's generally take an example. Take an example of a chair. Let's say chair sales are already happening. It's an offline product. Um, you have the sales data. So before digital, also everything was happening. The world was still happening. People were still buying things. People were still given right things as well. You need to make sure that you get all the sales data, all the different data back, and then you bring it, right? um, I'll give you a small example of Coke. Okay, so Coke, what they have done, let's say they have distribution. I'm just making an example in Delhi only at 50 different places. Now they have given the inventory of 100 bottles to each place, and then they monitor the sales for Coke bottles, and then eventually that helps them to define where they need to refill, where should they send more inventory, which is more likely to be filled out in 2 days, in 10 days, 15 days. That helps them to manufacture better, that helps them to provide better, all those things. That is where data analytics can help, right? You can do surveys on different places. For offline products, I have seen a lot of time when you go to these malls, and then wherever you have people spending and asking some questions to you, they'll give you some voucher, they'll provide some information to you, and those are the right ways to collect more data on these kind of offline products.
Great. Thanks, Bhupesh. We have Devika on LinkedIn who has asked us two questions. One is, how relevant is project management experience to get into product management role?
Hmm.
And
Okay,
how
how
important is
relevant? Sorry,
is
sorry, go.
project management
Yeah,
experience
yeah.
for the product manager role?
Okay. Let me answer this first and then we can go to the second question.
Yeah.
So how relevant, um, any experience people can go into product management? I'm sure IPL tells that's the first thing, like institute also tells. Whatever you do is helpful because product management has so vast things to cover as a product manager. So for the delivery of the product is one of the key thing as a product manager which you need to take care of. Make sure you raise a flag on the time that we are not meeting the deadline. You need to make sure you can do it, all those things. So that is all project management. Where project management and product management differ is project managers are only taking care of deadlines, deliverables, provide a status update. They're not decision makers. So if someone is saying, "Hey, you are giving me 3 weeks to build, I need 6 weeks," project managers will just take this feedback and go back to leadership and say, "Hey, you gave them 3 weeks, they are doing 6 weeks. Please help me. What can I do?" Whereas product manager will say, "Let me help you. Let me deprioritize couple of features for you so that you can build in 3 weeks because we cannot compromise on 3 weeks." That is where product. So as a project managers, how will you start doing it? Start practicing decision making in your day to day life. When people are not adhering to deadlines, okay, what can you say? What can you do? What is the response other leader has given? Why they have given like this? Start building that product mindset, and once you start doing that, you will eventually slowly be able to move from project management to product management.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. That's wonderful advice. Devika's second question is: how important is it to have knowledge of the industry in which you're striving to become a product manager? So I think she's talking about like domain skills.
Yeah, so domain skills are definitely important. I won't say it's not important, but what you need to understand is what are the transferable things, what are the common things between two. Okay. um I'll just take an example from yesterday's session. I was meeting with someone, and then um that person is from healthcare, and then you all know Practo, right? So how Practo connects the doctors to the patients, right? So they build Practo. Let's just take an example. They built a Practo, and then they connected this, and then they are calling themselves as a healthcare domain person. Whereas I want to call it as a marketplace, digital marketplace person. So what is urban company doing? Urban company is also doing the same thing. People are looking for plumbers. They onboarded some plumbers on the app. So there's one version which plumbers can see. There's one version which people can see. So what you need to do, you need to make sure that you can understand this transferable skill which are connecting from A to B, right? Um, you are a Netflix recommender. Can you work as an Amazon recommender? For sure. You are not into inventory management, it's okay, but you understand the recommender algorithm, the piece, how it works. So you need to work on to make sure that what is the transferable piece which becomes more generic, which can be used across industries, and that becomes core of you rather than you yourself start calling yourself, "Hey, I'm from X domain only," so that people only treat you from X domain. But definitely there are some which are very, very important. Might be some specific on finance if you're going into a little bit too finance kind of products. So you need to understand how revenue, how balance sheet, and number of other things works.
Great. Thank you for that. We have another question on LinkedIn from Piyush who has asked, what can be the roadmap slash GTM strategy for B2B SaaS product as a compliance solutions in pharma industry?
As a B2B product for a, can you repeat? Sorry.
SaaS product as a compliance solutions in pharma industry.
So, okay, it's a very, very specific. I won't say that I'm the expert of it, but I can just share my idea. Let's say you are asking this question to me in my interview. What are the things I can suggest? What I'll suggest is, if you're from compliance, you need to make sure that you have the market compliance as okay. You have a product. On that product, you you have X. Okay, you have an X type of product that has n number of features. Okay, if a pharma company says we are launching this product, this has these many salts, this is the configuration of these salts, and this is mg of it, and all the different things. and you have a product which is a compliance which reads all market compliance, and for market compliance for each salt, each disease, each different type, there are some regulations, market regulations. You have created an automated system for that. Whenever you input this what do you call it, pill, or this vaccination details, it will automatically validate against all the compliance rules of the market and give you a report if it is good to go or not. And it's the B2B product only. It is product only for all the pharma companies who are generating products. And it might be a very important thing to have it, because I feel like there are a lot of companies which might not be adhering all the time to all the compliance rules. But this is a very easy way to do it rather than it becomes a manual process, because um, the companies are not putting that much money into to all this compliance and all as well. They are putting more money to do growth and then launch new products. So this can be one of the good example of making it an automated product, where you just provide the detail about your product, all the key ingredients, their configuration and everything, and our app will give you if it is compliant or not, or what is the level of penalty you can get on which kind of a compliant uncompliant you are. So that is just one feature I can plan from this product. But again, not the expert.
Great. Our next question is from Vijay, who has asked, how does PM addresses or handle issues when the product has limitation and business demands detailed reports of product slash feature performances?
How does PM addresses or handle issues when product has limitations? Okay, but business demands detailed report on product feature performance. Okay, so not all products are error free, but it's a product manager's job to understand, can I live with that issue? Is that a road blocker, showstopper, or it's just a one kind of a problem. The same address update example, right? My app is still working fine, address update is failing. Now, how many people update address? Let's say I have to have an idea. If there are 100 people, 20 people at least update address. Okay. But not address update, all pages are not happening. They are coming from three different pages. How many people will move from card to this page? Maybe 10. So out of 110 people might face a problem, but 90 will, it will work perfectly fine for 90. So I can take a decision and say, yeah, I have to live with this problem because I have other bigger problem to solve. So that's why I am telling you clearly, this is what is working fine, these are the reports, and these are the two or three problems which system still has. So I have to have a bug backlog as well, I have to have a feature backlog as well. So you need to make sure that you are very transparent in telling, but you definitely provide all the details, right? I hope that answers. Can still live with,
Okay,
yeah, showstopper versus can still live with it, definitely that's the right thing to do.
great. Thanks, Bhupesh. We have another question from Sunil, who has asked, if I want to work on a project to showcase product management skills, where can I find such roles?
Okay, I think the there are two things. First is internship. Look for internship where people are ready to give you chances. Second is do a lot of case studies. um, Work with a mentor, work with an institute, identify, spend some money, spend some time, learn more about it, and build a behavior that whenever you see any product, you start seeing why it is happening. I'll give you a small example, and which I generally use a lot to build a product mindset. Have you seen that Starbucks glasses has a cardboard sleeve? Read about it. It's a very interesting problem, and generally I talk about in my one of the product mindset session, where you are drinking a coffee, you're getting into a car, and then suddenly you kept the glass and then start driving, and you start to pick to take first sip, but the glass is so hot and then it's spilled on your lap. What will you think? You will curse, you will shout, you will have a problem, you will crib, or you'll have, this should be a better solution to it. Okay, you are a coffee store owner, and then people, because of this problem, have started asking, give me 2 cups, don't give me 1 cup, so that first cup the insulation can work and I can hold it. and then eventually it is charging you like each glass takes charges 10 rupees more, right? What will you do then, right? So then you decide, okay, I'm spending rather than 10 rupees on a glass for a coffee, I started 20 rupees, it is increasing. I have to have a solution for it, rather than saying no to customer. No, no, we don't give, it is one glass piece. There are people who are saying this as well, but rather than that, what Starbucks has done, they worked with it. Someone has created it and now Starbucks is doing it. They looked at it and they're like, there should be some solution for it. There are two different people who have solved it, both on this side only. One is a cafe owner and this person, and then they identify, if I was previously spending 10 rupees, I have a solution which can take like 4 rupees. At least I'm saving 6 rupees now, right? And how, like, now still I'm spending 4 rupees more on it. What is the best way to do it? Let me start selling this space for advertisements. So I'll start getting advertising money for this space. People can put advertisement on my coffee sleeve, and then for that I'll start charging 5 rupees. Net one more product got added, and I'm making it. You need to build this skill set. Whenever you look at anything, try and understand how this idea might have come to someone's mind.
Great advice. Thank you for that, Bhupesh. I don't see any other questions. We'll wait
Perfect.
here for a couple of seconds in case anyone else wants to, post any
Okay.
questions. But until then, please accept this certificate of appreciation from the Institute, for your valuable time and your valuable insights and for
Thank
joining
you.
us and conducting this wonderful session. Thank you so much. The QR code on the certificate will take you to a dedicated Hall of Fame page that's been created especially for you on the Institute's website. I will make sure to send across this certificate to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Arlene. Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with me for 2 hours. You have been really patient. And thanks a lot for giving this time to me. I hope it was valuable. You all got some learnings from it. Um, Check out my LinkedIn profile. Please connect with me. I'm always happy to connect. Please reach out to me for one-to-one sessions. Please reach out to Harleen for their what different offerings IPL has for all of you. And let's make sure that we build more effective special product managers.
Of course. Thank you so much, Bhupesh. It's been wonderful to have had you here today.
Okay, thank you everyone. Have a good night and enjoy the rest of the week. Bye bye.
You. Thank you to all our attendees for joining in as well, right? We conduct multiple events just like today's masterclass. You can find out more about them on our website. We have something else that you will love, which is our newsletter. It's a treasure trove of product management and leadership tips and insights. So make sure to subscribe to the same and keep up to date with the product community, right? I'll wait here for a couple of seconds so you guys can scan the QR code and leave any feedback, questions, or any comments at all about your experience at today's session. It would be greatly appreciated. I'll just wait here for a couple of seconds so you can go ahead and scan the QR code. Okay, I hope that is enough time for everyone to have scanned the QR code, right? Finally, thanks once again to Bhupesh and all our attendees for joining in. I'm sure everyone's had a fruitful time at this session. I look forward to hosting you at one of our future sessions. I hope you all have a good rest of the evening. Thank
Thank you
you.
everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. I'll end this session on that note.